Welcome to the Monday stream. I hope everyone's having an awesome Monday morning. Late. A wizard is never early or late. He arrives precisely when he means to. Thank you, Anodyne. A big happy holiday Monday from a mild gray London. How's it going, Astro? I don't know if I butchered that quote, but A for effort, right? Alright folks, today we are back to our regularly scheduled programming. As, you know, a couple of days being out of the loop doesn't seem like much, but I feel like it's been an eternity and I have no idea what's going on. I'm also feeling a bit under the weather, so I apologize for that. That's right, Astro. Yeah, it's a bit, I do feel a bit of under the weather. But, no worries. The show goes on. The show goes on as it's meant to. I think yesterday was the real bad part of it. I hope it's not COVID. I personally don't think so. I've been trying to get hold of those at-home tests, but here in Florida, it is incredibly hard to get those. I went to like 4 different pharmacies. None of them had it. It's possible, but I don't think so because my the only people who have been in like continuous contact within the last, I would say, couple of days would be my immediate family. And although my sister did have COVID, she was way past the 10 plus days that you're supposed to wait. And also my parents tested negative twice. So my parents are in the clear. They're not feeling sick. The only people that are feeling sick are me and my girlfriend. So while it is possible, I highly doubt it. Maybe, I don't know. Because it doesn't feel like, COVID, you know? It feels like a really bad cold. You have to look 5 days to find the infection point. Well, 5 days prior, we were at my friend's wedding, in which case, from my understanding, everybody there, everybody there was good. Unless it was just happenstance at one of the places we stopped to get like food. I don't know. It'd be very weird. It's possible, but definitely I guess it's possible, but my sister, who is a nurse, is going to attempt to procure more of these COVID tests because they are very hard to come by here. Even in her area, she tried to go to different pharmacies around and none of them had it. I went to 4 different pharmacies. None of them had it. You know, just as a precaution because you never know. And, yeah, I mean, like, yesterday was the worst of it. And now when I woke up, I'm feeling definitely a lot better. a lot better. So I don't know, it seems kind of weird. But then again, I am vaccinated, so if it was COVID, if it is COVID, then it would make sense that I have like a mild, a mild occurrence, because I'm not feeling what most people describe as COVID. What I'm feeling is legitimately a cold. It's all up here. It's all up here. Which is why you see my stuffy voice. The big point is right here. Oof. All of this is on stuffy. Or was, I should say. It's definitely a lot better than it was last night. Anyways, the ODR, yes, I have considered that, Astro, which is why I'm trying to get a hold of those at-home tests just in case, just in case. My 19-year-old son caught COVID and he thought it was just a cold, but it tested positive. He was back to work in 7 days. Yeah. You're supposed to wait, I think, like 10 days or something like that. 10 plus days. I mean, according to my sister, who's like a nurse, you should wait about that long, more or less, depending. And she got COVID, but she had way much more symptoms, like in terms of like her cough and stuff like that. Versus me, it's just like, it's all up here. It's all the sinuses. Which again would be weird because none of my parents tested positive twice, and none of my parents got sick. So I don't get it. To be fair, I have been traveling for quite some time on the road. My partner was saying that, maybe it could just be that we're so exhausted. We're so exhausted. I assume your folks have good vaccination status? Yeah, my dad is vaccinated. My sister's vaccinated. My mom isn't. My mom isn't. She refuses. But both tested negative twice. They did 2 tests. They did the rapid test. Not PCR, the antigen test. I think that's what it's called, the 15-minute one. They both did a 15-minute test, came negative. Then they did the other one, the one that takes a bit longer, and it's supposed to be better. I think it's called the PCR test, if I'm correct. I think it's called the PCR test. And both of them tested negative. Both of them, till this day. Even when my sister had COVID, like during her bout with COVID that lasted about, I would say 10 days. Even during that, and she lives with them, right? So they are in more or less contact with them. Neither of them got it. Neither of them, because they both kept their distance and took care of themselves. But till this day, and we didn't have prolonged contact with my sister either. Like, at all. So it'd be very strange. But like I said, it's not entirely impossible. Not entirely impossible. That being said, out of the abundance of caution, we will be doing that test again. Even before our trip, to Tennessee, we, again, just out of and just out of an abundance of caution, we also tested negative. We did a test twice ourselves. So it's good you are here and waiting for more of your wisdom. Oh, I don't got any wisdom. I'm just here. Don't listen to me. Either way, if we ended up testing positive, this only strengthens the argument for vaccination status, as I am fully vaccinated and so is my partner, and the worst of it was 2 days. Assuming. So if we end up testing positive, I would thank the vaccine for such a mild version of it, because 2 days versus being stuck on a ventilator sounds good to me. Sounds like a good trade-off to me. Losing the dice roll, I should say. Alright folks, we got we've got some articles to go through. The first one is a meme article. Candace Owens. Oh, Candace Owens. Candace Owens tells fans to take quack cure that turns skin blue. Yeah, I know that it is a sensational headline, but it's true. It's true. Right-wing personality Candace Owens is urging fans to consume a quack medical cure known for turning users' skin blue. If you take enough of it and take it religiously, like some of these folks do, yes, colloidal, I can't pronounce it, but colloidal silver does indeed have a propensity. Is that the word I want to use? Let me make sure I know how to do words. Propensity. An inclination or natural tendency to behave in a particular way. Yeah, that sounds about right. Colloidal silver has a propensity to turn your skin blue. This has been documented numerous times. There was a whole family that suffered through this. It has a name. This article does tell you what name, what its name is. When your skin, it starts with your fingernails start turning blue. Yeah, not good, not good. In an Instagram video posted on Thursday, which I'm surprised is still there. Actually, we can probably look it up, or what? Is it not available? Did it get taken down? Instagram. Oh man, I don't want to... I'm gonna have to do research and see the actual video. On Thursday, Owens praised the use of colloidal silver as a daily supplement, which is only usually peddled with religious zealots and conspiracy theorists. A treatment that comes with no valid medical use and plenty of health risks. True. Yes, colloidal silver, Owen said in a video. I take colloidal silver every single day. Yeah, no. Hard no. Hard no. She does not take any of this stuff. Guaranteed. Guaranteed. Colloidal silver consists of tiny silver particles in a liquid that is sometimes promoted on the internet as a dietary supplement. That's right. And by sometimes, it's those usually evangelical zealots or those conspiracy theorists. Madame Defarge resubscribing with a tier 1 subscription a whole year. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Thank you. I appreciate that. I appreciate the support, Madame Defarge. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Thank you. Thank you. You have received your Black KDT badge. Thank you. It is a quack medicine, that is true. So yeah, no, Candace Owens does not take colloidal silver. I'm sorry, she's also very vaccinated. 100%. Jesse James, how's it going? She's also vaccinated. No doubt about it. While Owens and others have praised preventative use of colloidal silver as a way to stave off illness, colloidal silver has no valid medical purpose and plenty of potential dangers. In extreme cases, according to the Mayo Clinic, a colloidal silver can cause seizures or organ problems. Nice. So at worst, you're gonna make your organs fail. That's good. That's very good medical advice, Candace Owens. Candace Owens did not respond for a request for comment. Yeah, I don't see her doing that. Yeah, right. Jesse James, how's it going? Howdy, howdy. But colloidal silver's most famous side effect is argyria, a condition that turns the user's skin a bluish-gray color, usually permanent. That's right. That's the name of it. There we go. Argyria? Gyria? I don't know. Despite those risks, colloidal silver has sometimes been embraced by political outsiders, including some libertarians, seeking treatment for a variety of illness outside the medical system. Montana libertarian politician Stan Jones, for example, turned his skin blue by consuming colloidal silver. And, oftentimes it's permanent. Nice meme. Wait, I gotta fact check this. Hold on. I gotta fact check this. Howdy. What's this guy's name? Stan Jones. It's true. He is a libertarian politician who ran for Senate twice. Wow. And, he don't look too good. He don't look too good. He's got that dark gray, bluish tone. Yeah. He does not look too good. That's him. That's him. I think they would be better off drinking holy water, probably. Probably. Owens laid out her colloidal silver regimen in a follow-up Instagram comment to a fan asking for more information. Yeah, see, this is the problem right here, right? It would be one thing if Candace Owens wants to mess with her body and potentially give herself very bad side effects, some of which are permanent, some of which in extreme cases may include organ failure, seizures, etc., right? That's fine. If you want to do that, okay. I mean, we would highly recommend against it, but if that's what you want to do, by all means. The problem is when you start with your God knows how many followers, certainly on Twitter, she's got plenty, is when you start telling other people that they should be taking this. Jai Bureaucrat, Merry Crimbus. Owens laid out her colloidal silver regimen, and again, I'm highly skeptical that Candace Owens is actually taking any of this, to be quite frank. Just like she said she was not vaccinated, she's 100% vaccinated. She was seen in a gathering in an area that requires proof of vaccination. Of course she's vaccinated. So yes, I'm gonna press hard X, like I'm gonna press capital X to doubt. I'm gonna press capital X to doubt that she's taking any of this, whatsoever. I'm blue, da boo dee da boo die, true. Oh, now that's a throwback, isn't it, Chai? Whammy, how's it going? Howdy, howdy. Yeah, I'm gonna press capital X to doubt that she's taking any of this. Claiming that she takes a teaspoon a day or more when I'm sick. Yeah, no way. No chance. No chance. No chance. In a post first highlighted by liberal activist William Legate. Yeah, taking the silver turns you blue. Yep, we went over that libertarian politician who took it, and now his skin is like, his skin was completely blue. Now it starts turning into a more kind of gray, I guess, after maybe he stopped taking it, but it's still kind of grayish. Oh man, as little as 1 teaspoon of silver a day could be enough to cause I can't pronounce this, argyria, depending on the concentration of the silver solution. According to medical research, a 56-year-old man who took a teaspoon a day for allergy and cold medication noticed that his fingernails were turning blue. Owens isn't the only far-right figure to endorse silver as a fringe medical cure. In 2020, the FDA warned InfoWars chief Alex Jones, of course, to stop promising that silver toothpaste and other silver products sold on his website could prevent or treat coronavirus. Yeah, contrary to popular belief, indeed, ingesting silver does not treat, prevent, or cure COVID, okay? Just no. No. Nice meme. Owens Pro, hey, how's it going? How's it going, Weem? Owens Pro colloidal silver video came days after a disastrous interview where Owens, who works for conservative commentator Ben Shapiro's The Daily Wire, yeah, which again, folks, The Daily Wire is completely fine with this because, obviously, they are hiring her and they're pretty much not pushing back on it, so, yeah, they're cool with it. Interviewed former President Trump in a surprise move. Trump rebuffed Owens' criticism of the COVID vaccines, praising the vaccine's result as, quote, very good. I know.
I recommend take the vaccines. I did it. It's good. Take the vaccine.
There we go. Imagine refusing so hard to take a vaccine that's absolutely safe but claim that it's deadly, then promoting a random ass supplement that you have no idea who made them or what they'll do to you. Yeah, maybe the high resolution thinking here is that it's all just a grift. She doesn't care. I suspect that Candace Owens knows. Candace Owens understands that none of this is gonna do anything except for potentially negative health effects. I mean, it's very hard to believe, given her history, that she's doing this as a true believer. I think she's doing it because, well, money. It's a grift. It's a grift. It's a grift, folks. It's a grift. I think she knows that colloidal silver is a quack medicine. I think she knows that there are serious potential harm from it. And I do not believe for a second that she is taking this in any way, shape, or form. In the same video in which she praised colloidal silver, Owens downplayed Trump's support for the vaccines, claiming Trump is too old to read anti-vaccine information on the internet. She also attacked the vaccinations more broadly, claiming, among other things, that there's real evil behind a tetanus shot. Oh, so now we can't... What? Okay. Nice meme. I mean, hey, if you want to be if you want to roll the dice and get tetanus, which is, I guess, colloquially known as lockjaw, hey, roll the dice. Roll the dice. Consuming chemical elements is dangerous. After all, they fill your body with platinum to kill living cells to fight cancer. What? I don't know how that works. TLDR, like, the point being, Astro, is that this has no known health benefits and has been debunked time and time again. And the real takeaway from this entire article is the grift. The grift continues, folks. The grift continues, and this is probably an escalation to Donald Trump, surprisingly, being correct and pushing back against Candace Owens's absolutely bananas claims about vaccines and stuff like that. Like, just absolutely out there, wild claims about vaccines, you know? She's just like doing this to the point where I can't really I can't believe her. She's doing this for the grift. She's doing this for the grift. That's the only explanation. Anyways, folks, this, again, I think the lesson here is maybe we shouldn't turn to people like Candace Owens for medical advice. Just saying. We turn our attention to, of course, Florida. Test popular on Christmas as Florida hits new virus record. Florida hit a new record in the pandemic for the second day in a row as the state reported 32,850 daily new cases on Saturday. On a day earlier, with 31,758 new daily cases reported, Florida broke its previous record of more than 27,000 cases set at the height of the new Delta wave in Florida. The current surge is being driven by the spread of the highly contagious Omicron variant. True. The swelling number of virus cases created demand for COVID-19 tests even on Christmas Day, when tests were almost as popular as eating ham or drinking eggnog, like coquito, which is very popular here, by the way. I bet she's a Harvard medical graduate in medicine. True. I bet she is. That's why she's giving us all this very very heavily, very heavily studied medical advice. Hours before a testing site opened at Tropical Park, dozens of cars lined up along the road leading to its entrance. Jesus. The testing site was open from midnight to morning to mid-afternoon, and 2 other test sites in Miami-Dade County were open for Christmas Day. What? To help alleviate demand, county workers distributed 12,500 at-home test kits on Friday at Miami-Dade libraries before the supplies ran out. Wow. Yeah, so TLDR, that probably explains why I couldn't get a single test this entire time. Everybody who is traveling here for the holidays probably hogged up all the tests. Because my sister has been trying to get a test. She went to several pharmacies. I went to several pharmacies. Have yet to find any. I guess the silver lining is that most people are trying to get themselves tested, which is good. And it seems to me like folks are trying to take this seriously as more people are testing. Obviously, you're going to see more cases so that we can get a real good, or at least a better understanding of how we stand. Because the more people get tested, the more accurate we're able to determine how bad it really is. Instead of like underreporting numbers, we're getting a little bit closer to the reality the more people test. And so that's a good sign, but I would like a test. That being said, this only strengthens the case for vaccination, right? There's so many. We have a surge in cases, but depending on the area, we are seeing better numbers when it comes to ICU and severe illness and death. We're seeing better numbers on that end, so that's good. Mainly because those folks are generally vaccinated. Generally. So that's good. That's good news. But yes, we're definitely having a surge in cases. And I suspect that part of it is because obviously there's a more contagious variant, the Omicron variant. And it seems to me like a lot of people are getting tested. So we get a closer to reality number as to what's going on here. I was going to ask if you have drop-in testing centers nearby. Not drop-in. You would have to get an appointment. The drop-in, like where you just go without any appointment, you just drive through. That would be farther south where this is reported. Where this is reported, which is south from me, those sites are limited. The huge site is mass numbers of workers getting sick, so society closes down. Kind of. Certainly it is a concern. Certainly, especially if you're, sick and unable to work, or shouldn't work, I should say. It shouldn't work, especially if you have COVID. That is a concern. My sister is going down to the local library and see if she can get some of these tests before they run out again. We'll see. We'll see how that goes. Well, yeah, folks, if you need to, get tested. If you haven't been vaccinated, I highly encourage it. It's the best defense you got. Best defense. As seen by the prevention of severe illness and death. Here in the UK, there are some big sectors of travel and commerce shutting down due to staff sickness. Yikes. Yikes. The 10 races that will decide the Senate majority. Alright, here we go. Big international news. Cuba's officially partnered with China's Silk and Road Initiative. Wait, Silk Road Initiative or Belt and Road Initiative? Or is that the same thing? Or are these two things? This is big, probably, especially for Cuba, I would imagine. Oh, the modern Silk Road. Gotcha. Belt Road Initiative. Okay. Oh, okay. So it's the same thing? Sounds to me like the same thing. It's probably huge for Cuba, to be quite frank. Yes, it would be the Belt Road Initiative. Gotcha. Yeah, if anything, it's huge for Cuba. That's for sure. I mean, like, if the United States wanted to get its collective-ish together, we could do something like that. We could do something like that. I would go a step further and say the United States could even do a green Belt Road Initiative for the Global South, where we would invest and provide the tools, resources, infrastructure for green energy and green infrastructure, and name it like the Green Belt Road Initiative. But you know, we're still twiddling our thumbs. We're twiddling our thumbs, increasing defense budgets. Apparently, we're having a big discussion about whether or not people deserve child tax credits. We're having a big discussion about whether or not people deserve, 2 years of education. We're discussing whether or not people deserve to have paid parental leave. I mean... yeah, but that doesn't work anymore, Chai. The trading communication routes for their trade to take over economies in other countries. Yeah, they're doing it economic. They're increasing their influence via economic ties, which is something that the US has absolutely not done. They are not focusing on strengthening economic ties with potential allies. Maybe we should be focusing on uplifting and expanding our economic, I don't know how to say, partnerships? That would be a better word. Partnerships across, but, you know, we're still twiddling our thumbs doing other stuff. Democrats are defending the narrowest of Senate majorities in 2022 as Republicans look to fight their way back into power after a series of crushing defeats. Crushing? I'm not sure about that. I think the Republicans are poised to coast in the 2022 elections in the Senate. While Democrats are going on offensive in a handful of states where GOP incumbents are retiring, the party is also facing strong national headwinds in their bid to hold on to the Senate. What? The party of a new president, in this case President Biden, almost always loses ground in Congress in midterm elections. While that may be true, I think that the real problem here is, yes, it is true that historically speaking, this isn't already against the Democratic Party, right? Because of the incumbent president, so on and so forth. But I think a lot of the backlash that the Democratic Party is going to receive, and I think that it's most of the reason why they're going to fail, or I should say get swept in the midterms, is because of their failure to deliver on any of big campaign promises, right? Their failure to deliver on any of the big ticket items. I mean, not good. Well, I have to be frank. I'm pretty ignorant on how the Belt Road Initiative functions. So I'm not sure if that's how that works. I will have to do more research on it. I think the real reason why the Democratic Party is not going to win, I already suspect that they've lost. In my opinion, I suspect that they've already lost. They lost when they couldn't get the most simplest of simplest things passed. And it wasn't because of the Republicans, although by default they are to blame, because any one of those Republicans could have done the right thing. Remember, there are 50 Republicans who could have, any one of them, any two of them I should say, could have stepped up and done the right thing. Any one of those, any two of those 50 Republicans could have stepped up and done the right thing for the American people, but they didn't. So by default, that's already, a thing. The problem is the people perceive, the perception of the American people is that the Democratic Party is the one that's in control, right? That's who won the elections in 2020, right? How does it look when two, or in this case, one of their members are solely responsible for torpedoing some very promising or potentially even good legislation? How does that look? How does that look when you see Democratic Senator President Joe Manchin? How does that look when he single-handedly torpedoed potentially good legislation? I mean, it looks like the Democratic Party is incapable of producing results. That's what the people take away from that, at least from my understanding, from my perception. From my perception, it looks like the Democratic Party is not delivering. Given Democrats' slim majority, Slim majority. That is a very generous way of putting it. Control of the upper chamber is likely to come down just to a handful of states. Here are the 10 races that will decide the Senate majority next year. Pennsylvania, with President Biden's narrow victory in the states last year and the coming retirement of Senator Pat Toomey, Pennsylvania may well offer Democrats their best chance to pick up a new Senate seat in 2022. So far, more than a half dozen Democrats have entered the race to succeed Toomey, including Lieutenant Governor John Fetterman, which I think is probably the better option given the choices. Representative Connor Lamb and Montgomery County Board Commissioners Chair Val Arkush. And while the Democratic primary field has yet to yield a clear frontrunner, the Republican field is just as fluid. Sean Parnell, who had won former President Trump's endorsement, was seen as a likely GOP frontrunner, dropped out of the race last month amid a series of personal controversies, leaving a vacuum on the Republican side. The entrance of celebrity physician Dr. Oz primary in late November only served to shake up the race further. In my opinion, please, no more celebrities. No more celebrities in politics, Jesus. No more celebrity candidates, okay? Just don't do it. Georgia's a pretty tough one. Georgia's a pretty tough one because now the Democratic Party is going to have to explain to voters why they should vote for them when none of their campaign promises were fulfilled so far. Or at least it's been so underwhelming that that's the perception that people had. Georgia was the big one. I don't see the Democratic Party holding on to Georgia. Senator Raphael Warnock is heading into a 2022 fresh off a history-making victory in a January runoff, making the 2022 Senate contest in Georgia a test of whether Democrats can maintain their momentum in a state that has only recently become a battleground. Republicans argue, however, the state still leans in their direction, especially in a midterm year that is expected to be unfriendly for Democrats. Well, again, they could have made it so that at the very least, they could have made it so that they had something to show to voters, right? They could have made it so that they had something to show to voters, but instead they've opted to run their same game plan, which is, well, we're not Republicans, so yeah. We're not Republicans, so which is, in my opinion, the exact opposite of what you need to be doing. You need to give people something to vote for, and this ain't it. This ain't it. I never expected Biden to keep any of his promises. You can't ever expect politicians to keep their promises, but you can certainly hold them accountable when they don't. You can certainly hold their feet to the fire by, not voting for them. That's how it happens. When candidates promise something, especially this Democratic Party's, this Democratic platform, which was, it was something, right? It was something. It was something. And the fact that they can't seem to deliver on any of it depresses turnout, I mean, how are you going to go to Georgians in 2022 and explain to them that they should vote for the Democratic Party when the whole point or the whole reason why they won Georgia was based on their platform, was based on these things, right? On the X, Y, and Z, and none of those were delivered. So how are you going to go to Georgians and say, well, you need to vote for us again? Former football star Herschel Walker, with high name recognition in his state as well as Trump's endorsement, has emerged as a favorite for the GOP nomination. While he still faces some primary opposition, top Republicans, including Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell, has coalesced around Walker, seeing him as the best candidate to oust Warnock next year. Yeah, I mean, like, it's definitely stacked for so many reasons against the Democratic Party, but they didn't need to give themselves this extra handicap, right? They didn't need to give themselves this extra handicap. Given both Trump's involvement in the race and Democrat Stacey Abrams' entrance into the contest for Georgia's governor, that's right, Stacey Abrams is going to throw her hat in the ring again for 2022. Georgia is quickly emerging as the epicenter of the battle for control of the upper chamber. Yeah, I think that it's certainly something to watch, but I would be very surprised if the Democratic Party is able to hold on to Georgia. Arizona. Senator Mark Kelly is heading into his 2020 re-election bid, just having run a competitive race in 2020, and he's among the GOP's top target in the race in the Senate. But before they can take on Kelly directly, Republicans will first have to resolve a relatively crowded primary, while polls showing State Attorney General Mark Brnovich leading his rivals for the GOP nomination. Trump has somewhat complicated that picture by publicly taunting Brnovich for not doing more to reverse Biden's win in Arizona in the 2020 presidential election. Trump also appeared at a fundraiser for another GOP candidate, Blake Masters, at Mar-a-Lago last month. The eventual winner of the Republican Party primary will have to contend with Kelly, one of the most prolific fundraisers in the Senate, in 2022 general election. Still, with Democrats facing a tough national headwinds next year, Kelly's seat is far from safe. Senator Ron Johnson, one of the spice figures by the left, hasn't said yet will he will seek to run another term in the Senate in 2022, leaving Wisconsin Republicans in limbo for the time being. The field of Democrats vying to take Johnson on, however, is vast. So far, Wisconsin Lieutenant Governor Mandela Barnes has led his top primary rivals in fundraising, while also picking up high-profile endorsements from the likes of Representative James Clyburn and Senator Warren. Hey Heat, how's it going? Howdy howdy. I heard that Arizona and Texas were going purple. Maybe. I don't see I don't see a lot of this going good. But hey, we will see. Nevada. Morning. Former Nevada State General Adam Laxalt is likely the GOP favorite to challenge Catherine Cortez Masto next year. He's already picked up the support of both Trump and McConnell and has the benefit of already run statewide both successfully and unsuccessfully. Democrats have been eager to cast Laxalt as a Trump acolyte who has backed the former president's false claim that the 2020 election was rigged. They're also quick to note that Laxalt lost his 2018 bid for Nevada governor's mansion. Well, the thing is, this isn't a good strategy. I feel like a lot of these races, the Democratic Party is going to run with who is a Trumper, I guess, for lack of a better term, and who is endorsing 2020 election conspiracy theories, right? That's not good enough. That's just not good enough. This is not a viable strategy. Still, there's little doubt that Nevada is in play for the GOP. Trump lost the state by only 2 points. At the same time, Republicans picked up some support around Latino voters in 2020, which could give Democrats a rockier path to victory next year. That's one way of putting it. Despite Trump's victory in the state in 2016 and 2020, North Carolina remains an evenly split between two parties statewide. At the same time, Senator Richard Burns' decision to retire to retire after his current term expires in 2023 has created a classic battleground scenario. While 2020 proved disappointing for North Carolina Democrats, Trump narrowly carried the state, while Senator Thom Tillis beat Democrat Cal Cunningham by in a hotly contested Senate race. The party is hoping to make a comeback in 2022, even in the face of the national challenges for Democrats. For now, the Republican primary field is mirrored in division. Trump has endorsed Representative Ted Budd for the GOP Senate nomination, but former Governor Pat McCrory is putting up a tough fight. Another GOP candidate, former Representative Mark Walker, is considering a possible run for the House instead, though he has said he'll remain in the Senate contest for the time being. Former State Supreme Court Chief Justice Sherry Beasley is the favorite to win the Democratic nomination. State Senator Jeff Jackson exited the Democratic field earlier this month and threw his support behind Beasley. Yeah, I don't know. Democrats, for the most part, have rallied around Representative Tim Ryan as their choice to succeed retiring Senator Rob Portman. I mean, Tim Ryan is, I'm gonna be honest, Tim Ryan is forgettable. I don't know how much of a platform or how much of a statewide presence he has, but I kind of forgot Tim Ryan. So, I don't know. The last remaining statewide elected Democrat in Ohio. In the Republican field, meanwhile, candidates have lurched to the right in an effort to capitalize on Trump's success in the state in 2016 and 2020. The former president has yet to endorse in the contest, but that hasn't stopped several top candidates, including State Treasurer Josh Mandel, entrepreneur and author J.D. Vance, and former state GOP chair James Timken, from fighting over their loyalty to Trump. Still, Democrats have had a tough run in Ohio in recent years, leading some to question its status as a political battleground, and for now it still seen as leaning in the GOP's favor in 2022. I mean, to be fair, I think a lot of these are leaning GOP. Despite what the polls say, I just don't see it. I mean, there are people who are completely on board with the idea that the Democratic Party is going to be fine coming into this 2022 midterms. I'm not seeing it. I'm not seeing it. I could be 1,000% wrong, but, you know. Yeah, I forgot about him too. That's funny. Still, Republicans are bullish about their chances of ousting... New Hampshire. Republicans were dealt a blow last month when New Hampshire Governor Chris Sununu announced that he would seek re-election next year instead of challenging Senator Maggie Hassan, denying the Senate GOP leaders one of their top recruits of the 2022 election. Still, Republicans are bullish about their chances of ousting Hassan next year, even without Sununu in the race, arguing that she remains one of the most vulnerable Democratic Senate incumbents in the country. The University of New Hampshire poll conducted in October found Hassan's favorability underwater at 33% to 51%. Yikes. Yikes. Nevertheless, Republicans have yet to coalesce around a single candidate to take her on. Another potential heavyweight contender, former Senator Kelly Ayotte, also announced in December that she would not run. Florida. We're doomed. Yeah, I think that in terms of the midterm, I think it's a done deal. I think it's a done deal in my opinion. How was your Christmas? It was chillin'. We had a small family dinner, just us, and yeah. I mean, good food, chill vibes. What else? What else could we ask for? We are returning from a 5-day, 6-day vacation previously last week. As you saw in the Discord, it was pretty fun. That entire ceremony with the wedding, the entire trip with the wedding was pretty fun. Definitely well needed, and I will be back. I will be back to the mountains. Big presents and no COVID. Nice. Nice. My biggest present was new undies, because mine are falling apart. So Florida. Representative Val Demings has emerged as the leading candidate to take on Senator Marco Rubio, giving Florida Democrats a high-profile name on the ticket in 2022. But beating Rubio isn't going to be an easy task. Democrats have been dealt a series of stinging defeats in Florida in recent years, most recently in 2020 when Trump carried it by more than a 3-point margin, a relative landslide by Sunshine State standards. I don't know why, people are surprised Pikachu face. Florida has been a solid, or I guess I should say a comfortably red state for a while now. I don't know why people are surprised Pikachu facing on this one. I know that back then it was more of a swing state, but now not so much. So short-sighted, very short-sighted. And for the first time in modern history, Republicans registered voters now outnumber Democrats. And the L's just keep piling up. Still, Demings is a prolific fundraiser, raking $8.5 million in the third quarter. And despite the GOP's newfound voter registration advantage, Republicans say they're taking the Senate race seriously, well aware of how expensive and unpredictable Florida can be. I mean, Marco Rubio is not exactly a powerful personality, and yet I see him coasting. All he has to do, and I kid you not, all he has to do is just say communism, and that's it. It's over. Missouri, for the most part, has been safe territory for Republicans, handing Trump a 15-point win in the 2020 presidential election, where there's a crowded field of Republicans seeking the nomination to succeed retiring Roy Blunt. Next year, many GOP operatives remain concerned that the state could be competitive for Democrats if disgraced former Governor Gretens wins the Republican nod. Trump hasn't endorsed in the Senate race yet, even though he hasn't ruled out the possibility of backing Gretens, who had resigned from the governor's mansion in 2018, following an investigation into allegations of sexual and campaign misconduct. Yikes. There's a handful of Republicans seeking their party's nomination to succeed Blunt, including Missouri Attorney General Eric Schmidt and Representatives Vicky Hartzler and Billy Long. I remember him at least, true. Democrats are also contending with a primary of their own. Who emerges from the two nominating contests could determine just how competitive the Senate race in Missouri will be. I mean, again, the equation isn't that difficult, right? The equation isn't that difficult. You've got a couple of months still to make this happen. And the best that you can do right now is to coalesce around a robust platform. And while you still have time, which is slowly slipping away, while you still have time, you gotta deliver on said platform at least something, at least a part of it, at least something that you can show that you're, in other words, show a proof of concept. Show the concept works. Show that people do need paid family leave. Show people do need maternity leave, sick leave, and show that people do deserve at least some type of higher education. Show that you can get your party to deliver these things. Maybe assist with student debt. That was a big part of the Democratic platform, is canceling student debt. There wasn't even an attempt. There was like a week kind of like, oh yeah, we're gonna do it. Oh, sorry guys. Oh man, sorry. It's just that like, we can't, you know? It's just that we can't. It's like, well, did you try? Did you get in touch with Democratic leadership in the House and Senate to try to maybe do it through legislation? Did you even bother to round up the Democratic leadership and say, hey, how can we make this happen? What do we need to do? Was there, I mean, please, like, show me something. Because we know, again, the Republican Party isn't going to do any of this. We know that the Republican Party is at fault by default. Is at fault by default. I mean, really? You're going to tell me that you're going to find 2 Republicans who are going to help to shift the tide against Joe Manchin and Sinema? You're going to find me 2 good Republicans to help the American people? No, not a chance. They will do it just to make sure that the Democrats don't get any type of W's. The story's flipped, essentially. I watched a great video on the alt-right playbook and how they control the narrative. It's on YouTube. Yeah. There's a, man, I forgot the people who made these things. They're like stick figure animations, right? Just talk about how large your hands are, you know? True. There we go. Look at that. From this camera view, my hands cover my face. Look at that. Look how big they are. Yeah, from weak Dems. Well, yeah, incapable of at least attempting to deploy any type of, Democrats find Republicans when it's to stop anything that the left is fighting for. Yeah, yeah. Why aren't we mad at all of them and just Manchin? Yeah, well, yeah, like, the reason why I understand and I'm quite frustrated with the Democratic Party is because I know that the GOP isn't here to help. I know that. Like, that's by default. They have like the lion's share of the blame. There's 50 Republicans who could, at any given point, do the right thing. And even if they are politically savvy, and even dunk on the Democratic Party on their way out. If they were politically savvy, they would jump on this opportunity, right? They would jump on this opportunity and say, look, people like Joe Manchin, people like Kirsten Sinema, they're the Democratic Party. We did the right thing. We joined hands with the people who wanted to do the right thing, and we got X, Y, and Z when they couldn't. We got X, Y, and Z when they couldn't. And that would be massive for the Republican Party, but they're not there to help, okay? So by default, I think that's it's on them. That being said, the Democratic Party is the one that's in power right now. The Democratic Party is the one that supposedly sets the agenda, and we've got nothing. We've got nothing. The man is just Manchin's him just running cover for a fuck ton of other useless Dems. Maybe. But you know what would blow the lid off that really quickly? If President Biden and Democratic leadership got together and said, "Hey, listen, we need to fix this now, and you need to, how are you like? What's the deal here?" And if Manchin then comes on board, wouldn't that blow the lid out of that? And then definitely we would know just exactly how effed things are. It's a definite, you think so? I mean, like I said, I'm not disputing that that's a very real possibility, and quite frankly, most likely the case. I'm just saying that if Democratic leadership was serious and really attempted to get things done and say, "Hey, look, you're unironically torpedoing our chances here. You need to cut this." And then it comes out that it actually is just a handful of other folks who are also, then we would know for sure. But he's shielding Dems in weaker districts that don't want to do shit, a handful. I'm not disputing that fact that it's a very real possibility. And like I said, in fact, it's probably likely. It's probably likely. But he's the picture. He's the face. So yeah, he's the one that's gonna get it. And regardless, he is the one that's hey, how's it going, Bob Dragon? He's the one that's the face. Just like I understand that not everything is within Biden's purview of power, but he is the face, is he not? He's the one that's he's the one that got elected to the presidency. I understand that Biden can't do everything, but he's the face. He's the one that should be out there. He's the one that should be out there trying to say, "Hey, we're trying to get things done." He should be campaigning like with ads and PR campaigns consistently after Manchin and Cinema and these folks, right? He should at least be having meetings with all of the Democratic leadership and trying to get things done that way and saying, "Hey, look, we need to do this. We need to coalesce and we need to get it together. Our time is running out. And should we fail, which we are failing, 2022 is a disaster." That's what really should be happening, but it's not, to my understanding. To my understanding, it's not happening. It's just utter incompetence, failure, corruption. He's not going to lose his seat. Yeah, so why should he care? Good point, Jai Bureaucrat. He does not care because he ain't going to lose his seat. And by then, I don't think he's up for re-election this cycle, so why does Manchin care? He doesn't. Manchin either thinks his constituents are idiots or he does not care about losing his seat because he's insanely rich, or both. I think that, honestly, Manchin is just corrupt, I think. When it comes specifically to President Joe Manchin, I think that he's just corrupt. There is no doubt in my mind that this is a clear-cut case of just corruption. I can't explain it in any other word. It's a clear-cut case of corruption. There is heavy influence of the coal industry. He's heavily invested in it as well. He's been repeatedly caught with his pants down when it comes to this type of lobbying. And yeah, he's just corrupt. He's so corrupt that he's way out of touch, has lost it, has completely lost the plot. because he doesn't need to care anymore. He just doesn't need to care anymore. And yeah, lobby money is good. And he gets to protect his own personal interest. All at the same time. How convenient. Again, the quote that really sticks with me is that the quote that he said that really sticks with me is that he, quote, doesn't want Americans to develop a, quote, entitlement mentality. Says the guy in a Maserati riding to his yacht. Yeah, just clear-cut corruption is the story with President Joe Manchin. Maybe you're right, Chai Bearcat, because, like, maybe it makes sense that he's using himself as a way to shield the other Dems, because, well, he's not up for election, so he doesn't have to do anything. He could take all the heat necessary. He can take all the heat that's necessary, because he's not even up for election. Everybody wins, except us, the American people. Everybody wins except us. Bob Dragon resubscribing with a tier 1 sub, 2 months. Thank you so much. I appreciate the support. Thank you. Imagine all the words journalists have to think of to describe his words and actions when corrupt is the most obvious term, but the Ben Power backwards found more flary descriptors that don't require discussion of his donors. True. I think the funniest one that's been kind of more or less been corrected-ish. I see it more often, but he is or was commonly referred to as the more moderate Dems. He was considered a moderate. He was considered a moderate mostly by the media. Nowadays, not so much. Nowadays, you will find some publications that will say that he's a conservative Democrat, which is accurate. But yeah, for a good while, Bob Dragon, the media was calling him a moderate. Yeah. For a good while, he was being called a moderate, which I don't think he really is. I don't think he is at all. And again, the only people who lose is us. Well, I know he's certainly a capitalist, that's for sure. To be quite frank, the only thing that President Manchin cares about is himself. He only cares about shielding his own personal investments, in my opinion. So TLDR, this 2022 midterm is going to be very, it's not going to be good. And I don't want to see these Democratic leadership. I don't want to see the Democratic leadership surprise Pikachu face when they get blown out of the water. Personally, I could be 1000% wrong, and there could be some wild things that turn it around, and I don't know. It ends up being that I'm wrong, but it doesn't seem the case to me, and I don't want to see surprise Pikachu face from Democratic leadership. Oh, how could we? How did this happen? Because that's going to be the news cycle, right? Oh no, in a stunning turn of events, the Dems lose a whole bunch of stuff. Yeah, okay, I can see it now. I could see some of the headlines now. In stunning defeat, Republicans win X amount of seats. I could see it now. Ohio governor signs a born alive abortion measure into law. Born alive. My husband just reminded me that I called Manchin a scapegoat the other day. Just had to share my big brains. Yeah, this is some high resolution thinking over here. Yeah, I mean it's quite likely the case. It's what I do know for sure. What I do know for sure is what I see is the corruption from Manchin, and what's very telling is the lack of ability, right? The inability for the rest of the Democratic leadership to do anything about it. Like, that's the telling part, right? Regardless, whether it be Manchin or whether it be a handful, or whether it is true, or whether or not it's true that he's shielding the Dems in weaker districts, all of that is irrelevant, because it's all telling when the Democratic leadership is doing just about nothing. That's the telling part, which is why I'm inclined to believe what Giant Bureaucrat and what you're saying, because like what's really telling about this whole thing is the lack of the inability for the Democratic leadership to just figure this out, right? It's like it gives the perception, because again I don't know what's going on in there, but it gives the perception to the American people that maybe they just don't want to do anything. Maybe that's the plan. Maybe they're putting all the eggs in the fact that there are some Republican candidates out there that are super, that are super radical about Trump, and they're expecting that to be their downfall. Or they're expecting to use the idea that some Republicans are endorsing the conspiracy theories about the 2020 election to win. That's not a strategy. And that's not a strategy. That is, that's not good enough. That's not acceptable. That's not acceptable. But yes, I'm inclined to believe that what you guys are saying is more than likely true, especially, like I said, the inability for Democratic leadership to really address it, or not wanting to, or incapable of. How is it so easy for Republican leadership to get all of their folks in lockstep, right? How is it that they're so effective and so good at doing that? How is it that they're so effective at doing that, and we're here twiddling our thumbs? What effectively would be twiddling our thumbs? I think the most effort that we've seen, is like meetings behind closed doors, between President Biden and Manchin and all this other stuff. But like, why is it like this? Isn't it wouldn't it be more effective if you're out there trying to speak to West Virginians, speak to Arizonians about what the Build Back Better plan could potentially do, what we're trying to do, what we're trying to accomplish, and I'm just speaking as the Democratic Party, as the president, the current president. What could the Build Back Better mean for your family? What could a child tax credit mean? The continuation of these child tax credits mean for you? What about potential student debt relief? What that could mean for you? What about I don't know, expanding Medicare? What could that mean for seniors? But instead, we're having closed door meetings and nothing. Learned helplessness, maybe. Why do internet hearts from strangers give me fuzzies? Because that's kind. It's a kind gesture, maybe. Either way, it's incredibly frustrating. And not gonna lie, very frustrating, very disheartening. Ohio Governor Mike DeWine signed a bill into law on Wednesday that requires doctors to try to save the life of a baby who was born alive after an attempted abortion or face criminal charges. So, this is solving problems that don't exist, okay? Because if you are having an abortion and the child is born alive, then, I mean, it stands to reason that the only time that would be a thing is if the mother's life is in danger, and if the baby is already born alive, then of course they're going to attempt to save it. I don't get what problem this is solving, other than a show of force. Senate Bill 157, called the Born Alive Infant Protection Act, by supporters also mandates that doctors report all instances in which a baby is born alive after attempted abortion. If a baby is born alive after an attempted abortion, that signals to me that that is a very, very late term abortion, which is like 1%, and usually done with in the event of the person's it's a life or death situation is what I'm trying to say, which is very strange that this would need to be codified, right? And prohibits clinics that clinics that perform abortions from working with doctors who teach at medical schools affiliated with state universities or other public institutions. What? And it prohibits clinics that perform abortions from working with doctors who teach at medical schools affiliated with state universities. Holy yikes, Batman. Wait, so you want to dictate where doctors can teach by decree, top down. I thought that was like a problem. I thought that was like a whole problem with the whole government getting into your business. I thought that was like the whole thing. Nice meme. And the good feelings are gone, but seriously. Yeah, the whole point is, look, even though this is horrible, we try to have chill vibes, yeah? Oh my god. This is unbelievable. The bill would require doctors to complete a child survival form or face a third-degree felony. Governor DeWine and Ohio Republican legislators have been courageous advocates for the most vulnerable among us. The unborn, which is by default not a child, not a person. It's like it goes right over their heads. It goes right over their heads. And if they really cared about the unborn, the children, they may want to consider legislative measures to provide parental leave, to provide medical leave, to provide or to continue child tax credits, which are incredibly important for families at this time to support, children. But they don't care about any of that. They never did. Yeah, they might spread cooties or progressive ideas. That's right. Opponents of the bill argue that it restricts access to abortion by threatening and intimidating physicians. Yeah, but these are for late term. Maybe it's just a show of force, like I said. At this moment, we're at a crisis point for abortion access in Ohio and across the country. Herschel Walker, CEO of Planned Parenthood Southwest Ohio region, said in a statement, anti-abortion politicians have made their job to bury abortion providers with under so many trap laws, targeted restrictions on abortion providers, that providing and accessing essential healthcare to Ohioans have become an obstacle course. True. And that's the point. DeWine signed a heartbeat bill into law in 2019 that bans abortions once a fetal heartbeat is detected, but it is currently on hold due to a federal lawsuit. Texas signed its own heartbeat bill earlier this year, prompting widespread backlash from pro-abortion right advocates as well as an array of copycat proposals from other Republican-controlled states. Nice meme. Ohio already bans abortions after 20 weeks of gestation. The Supreme Court is currently weighing challenges to Roe v. Wade, which, if the president is struck down, could result in more than 65 million women losing access to abortion in their home states. Nice meme. Pro-birth, then you're on your own. Right. Then it's bootstraps. Then it's then you should have not had the child. Then you should have been more responsible, because it's only a one person deal, right? That's how that happens. It's a one person deal, so therefore it's only your fault. Amazing logic. Anyways, the point is, this was signed into law, and while the Democratic Party is nowhere to be found and is currently, doing whatever it is it's doing or nothing, I'm really quite not sure what the deal is here. Republicans have managed to understand that the way to get things done is to win elections in state and local governments, and therefore they're passing these laws and signing these laws into effect, only being challenged in courts when possible. Do you see this type of I don't want to say excitement, but do you see this type of effort from the Democratic Party? Can you imagine if the Democratic Party had put even a sliver of this effort to try to get people, a living wage? Maybe? Could we get some effort on that? What about trying to face the climate crisis? Can we get some effort on that? Holy yikes! What about efforts on enforcing and strengthening labor protections? Can we get some effort on that? What about the states that the Democratic Party has control of? Can we get some effort? Holy yikes. Alio with the tier 1 subscription, 14 months and a 13-month streak. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. The support is amazing. Thank you so much. But don't worry, Texas is eliminating me. Thank you, Governor Abbott. Thank you. It's the nonsense of Republicans and the culture war is so silly and dangerous. I think that's certainly true. But it's working. All the Republican-controlled states get laws passed to get their agenda enacted, to get their horrible agenda enacted. Why? Why is it so easy for them to do this? Why? Where's the effort? Where's the effort to attempt to get some stuff done? Where's the effort on the part of the Democratic Party? That's what's really infuriating about this whole ordeal. That's what's infuriating. Nowhere to be found, folks. Nowhere to be found. Even in Democratic-controlled states, it's very, very milquetoast at best. I mean, I know California has done some good things here and there. But and this is across the board, right? This efficacy, this ability to sign things into law, to make these things into law in red states, have been across the board. When they set out to get these laws passed, they get it done. Meanwhile, the Democratic Party is fighting itself as to whether or not people deserve child tax credits. Unbelievably frustrating. By the way, guys, thank you so much for the support. You guys have been unreal. Thank you, guys. Amazon settles with the NLRB, helping to pave the path for union organizations. As part of the settlement, Amazon pledges not to retaliate against employees who discuss unionization outside of work facilities on their own time. So, wait, is that like an implicit admission that they do this? Because why would that be part of the settlement? Is that a self-report there? Jesus Christ. That sounds like a bit of a self-report. Why would you make that part of your settlement if you didn't do that? Amazon has reached a settlement with the NLRB in 6 cases, helping to pave the way for workers to unionize as more seek a seat at the bargaining table. Nice. The NLRB shared the settlement Thursday through a Freedom of Information Act request, stating that Amazon must post a notice of its relevant facilities for 60 days. The notice informs employees of their rights to seek collective action and says that Amazon will not prevent you from exercising the above rights. Nice. Nice. Amazon will also have to reach out to affected employees who have had worked for the company since March 22 by email with a copy of the notice. Whether a company has 10 employees or 1 million employees, it must abide by the NLRB National Labor Relations Act. The NLRB General Counsel Jennifer Abruzzo said in a statement, the settlement agreement provides a crucial commitment to Amazon to millions of its workers across the United States that it will not interfere with their right to act collectively to improve their workplace by forming a union or taking other collective action. As part of the settlement, Amazon pledges not to retaliate against employees who discuss unionization outside of work facilities or on their own time. Like, lol, like that's something they considered that is requirement, that the requirement to abide by the law? Yeah. Yep. They also promised in writing. Okay, guys, they promised in writing. To not call the police when you're exercising your right to engage in union or protected concerted activities by talking to your coworker in exterior non-work areas during non-work time. What? Okay. I wasn't aware that this was even a thing. Jesus Christ. I was not even aware that this was a thing. The settlement will also allow NLRB's general counsel to use evidence found in its investigation of these cases for any relevant purpose in the litigation of this case or any other case, and makes it easier for Amazon to be sued by the board if the company fails to uphold its end of the deal. Nice. The company did not immediately respond to a request for comment. Amazon has seen a wave of workers seeking to unionize in the recent years, some who have filed charges with the administrative board. Yeah, like, it is very obvious to me that Amazon has repeatedly violated labor laws, and has repeatedly just not given a crap about employees whatsoever. Amazon has seen a wave of workers seeking to unionize in recent years, some of who have filed charges with the administrative board. In August, a labor official determined that Amazon violated workers' rights after employees in Bessemer, Alabama tried to join a union. The union vote failed, but the Retail, Wholesale, and Department Store Workers Union accused Amazon of illegal interference in the election process. Workers alleged that Amazon actively discouraged voting in favor of unionizing, including holding mandatory meetings about why they should vote against the effort. But the accusation at the core complaint alleged Amazon illegally arranged for a U.S. Postal Service mailbox to be installed in the fulfillment center parking lot during the election. A ruling from the NLRB regional director in Atlanta with regards to the Bessemer case is pending. Whistleblower protection sucks in this country, but retaliation is definitely still something workers are technically legally protected against. True. That is very true. Muted. Oops. Sorry. I knew that. Pro streamer moment. So what I was saying is, thank you, Bump Dragon. Maybe, this is a good thing for labor. Maybe this could potentially encourage more unionization, especially after the recent victories when it comes to the Starbucks unionization efforts. Hopefully that encourages more to unionize. We've had this entire year was filled with strikes after strikes after strikes, some of which I think are still ongoing. Tens of thousands of workers. I think most recently, I think the Kellogg's one, the Kellogg strike. Tens of thousands of workers are on strike. And if the Bessemer, Alabama warehouse gets a vote or re-election, it looks like it might be in favor of the workers, which it's about damn time. And hopefully, if that goes through, it may encourage other warehouses to unionize because it's possible. In fact, it should be encouraged, right? It should be encouraged. The reality is labor has, for all intents and purposes, labor has been spat on for enough at this point. And I hope to see more. The conditions that workers have been subjected to, especially during the pandemic, have been unacceptable to say the least, and I'm glad that there's movement happening. I'm glad that there's movement happening on that end. Let's do our climate recap since I've been out on the loop for quite a while. Let's do our climate recap. Let's make sure we have enough time to finish this.
Firstly, I just want to say thank you so much to everybody who has supported me up until this point. I am so lucky to have such smart, kind people in my comment section that watch my videos consistently. And I know it's depressing content, you know, like I try to add some humor where I can, or just make sure that I have like positive climate topics that we're covering. But overall, it's still quite a depressing issue, especially since we're really, as a planet, as a species, not moving as fast on the topic as we all know we need to be moving.
True.
But it can be a lot, and I recognize that. But at the same time, it's such an important topic to cover, and it's such an important topic to stay up to date on and to act on when you're able to. And so I just want to thank every single one of you for watching my videos and for caring about this issue, because you are really the ones that give me hope for the future, that there is a big enough populace of us that care and want action on it. So I am so grateful for this community.
True.
Into the news. Montana, North Dakota, Washington, Wyoming, and British Columbia, Canada have reached new heat records for December. 2/3 of the U.S. experienced temperatures over 70 degrees for the first week of this month. The kind of thing that was previously reserved for places like LA or Key West. Now the jet stream is basically stuck over Alaska, Washington State, Oregon, and most of California. Everywhere else in the US might not get as much winter this year, basically. China's industry ministry, that's a mouthful. China's industry ministry released a 5-year plan to decrease carbon emissions by building green development and adopting green technologies in the industry sector. The Ministry of Industry and Technology reiterated their plan to drop emissions by 18% and energy intensity by 13.5% by 2025. The U.S. Navy station Pearl Harbor has shut off 2 wells in the Hawaiian island Oahu after the World War II era
Finally, they decide to take action on that. That was a really gross story. That was unbelievable to me. Here you go, Lem. That's the video. Link to the video. Her channel is called The Beckosphere. That was a really gross story. Jesus.
Underground Red Hill fuel storage facility leaked jet fuel into the drinking water. One of these wells was the largest one for the capital city, Honolulu, so thousands have been displaced by this. A former commissioner on the Hawaii State Water Resource Management Commission said this problem has been ongoing for years. The Department of Health has ordered the Navy to immediately install a drinking water treatment plant and drain every underwater oil storage tank there. Hawaii State has ordered the Navy to shut down the plant permanently. The Navy said it will evaluate the options of the water treatment plant and is contesting the shutdown request, though they have halted operations there since November 27th. They said that they will keep it shut down until a thorough investigation can take place. Global food prices are at the highest that they have been in over a decade. That explains my grocery shopping experience yesterday. Definitely not because I decided to shop hungry. Extreme weather events and the pandemic are largely to blame. In the US, this price hike has mainly been on dairy and grain products, mainly wheat, because drought and heat caused a 40% decline in wheat production this spring. This might have cost the US agriculture sector over $5 billion. We now know from a Chinese study that China used cloud seeding to drop the air pollution in Beijing for the Olympic Games. Cloud seeding is a geoengineering technique that involves putting chemicals like silver iodide into clouds to encourage them to drop water. The chemicals cause water droplets to form around them, making them heavy enough to drop. While other countries have done this, such as Saudi Arabia and I believe India, China has spent billions of dollars to test the method's degree of effectiveness. About a month ago, the White House held its first Tribal Leaders Summit since 2016. During it, Biden announced initiatives to pursue more collaborative public lands management strategies with tribes and incorporate traditional ecological knowledge into federal agencies' scientific analysis of projects. A memorandum of understanding was signed by 17 federal agencies promising to work on this. Power Edison, a utility-scale battery company, announced plans for an EV charging hub in New Jersey with the ability to support 200 megawatts.
Nice.
The location they chose for it serves one of the country's busiest seaport complexes, making it one of the largest EV charging facilities announced so far in the US. Hubs are important to have until EV charging networks can be built. London's Thames River came back from the biological dead since the 1950s after experiencing mass plastic pollution and sewage.
Wow.
It hosts all kinds of wildlife like river sharks, eels, seals, and even seahorses. There's still room to grow, and the Thames Tidal Wave Tunnel, which will be able to capture 95% of sewage spills, will be completed in 2025. Toyota announced plans to build an EV battery manufacturing plant in North Carolina. This is expected to be completed in 2025 and bring in 1,750 jobs to the area. I noticed a lot of EV factories are being built in more conservative states. I'm wondering if this will help detach areas from their interest in fossil fuels, because communities will become split between clean energy jobs and fossil fuel jobs. Just a thought. Let me know what you think. Then the Edison Electric Institute rolled out to the National Electric Highway Coalition, merging the Electric Highway Coalition and the Midwest Electric
The hopium would be that that's the case.
Vehicle charging infrastructure collaboration, and bringing new companies. Thank heavens, because those were a mouthful. Overall, the initiative now includes 50 power companies, including heavyweights, and strengthens the push for EV charging around the US. Quote, the coalition is committed to providing electric vehicles, EVs, fast charging ports that will allow the public to drive EVs with confidence along major US travel corridors by the end of 2023. Perfect. I'm hoping to get my electric vehicle by 2024. The Virginia Air Pollution Control Board voted to deny a key permit to the Mountain Valley Pipeline Company, potentially dismantling a proposed 75-mile extension of the gas pipeline into North Carolina. The board stated that the plan would violate Virginia's new Environmental Justice Act, which requires state regulators to consider whether a new project will cause disproportionate environmental harm to a particular demographic. Many neighborhoods that would be around the project are low income and people of color. A new study by the French consultancy firm Visio Terra found that between 2002 and 2012, there has been 18,063 oil slicks in the Gulf of Guinea. Oil slick is a blanket term that refers to both leaks and spills. Visio Terra used satellite imagery from their satellite that launched in 2002 to keep track. The worst year was 2008, when the oil spills covered about 390 square miles. Nigeria is by far the most impacted country, and its environmental consequences have been well documented. And while companies like Exxon and Shell were penalized for a few of the big ones, most have gone unnoticed by legal authorities. Carbon emissions from wildfires hit a new record this year as fires burned from Serbia to Turkey to the Pacific Northwest. The EU's Copernicus Atmosphere Monitoring Service determined wildfires around the world released double the emissions of Germany, which is the 6th top emitting country in the world, by the way.
What?
Side note. But did you know that if we look at countries themselves and basically like split up the EU, Japan is the 5th largest carbon emitter? I feel like they've totally slid under the radar on that. So the top 5 emitters, if you were to split up the EU, would be China, the US, India, Russia, and Japan. I also found it interesting that if you look at the emissions per capita, which is like carbon footprint per person, the top 5 emitters in order are Saudi Arabia, Australia, the US, Canada, and then with a big drop, South Korea. Let me know if any of that surprised you. I just found all that quite interesting because
I mean, okay, so this is a case of like, obviously numbers don't lie, but numbers can say what I want them to say. Yeah. That's basically what's happening here.
I am a nerd with data. BP acquired Amplify Power, a 3-year-old EV tech startup that helps vehicle fleets manage and optimize charging time. The U.S. International Development Finance Corporation, or DFC, is loaning First Solar $500 million to build a major module factory in India. This is the largest debt financing transaction in the DFC's history and could add competition to the international solar market that is currently taken up by China. The Biden administration has officially approved more oil and gas drilling permits on public lands than Trump in his first year, according to a Public Citizen report. The current administration is averaging about 333 drilling permits a month, which is about 35% higher than in 2017. Earth Month saw the largest number at 652, but it has since trended downward. Now again, Biden tried to stop leasing drilling sites on public lands altogether at the beginning of his presidency, but was quickly sued by Republican politicians and fossil fuel companies. But a new report found that the Biden administration wasn't forced by the court ruling to keep leasing lands and waters. A memo by the Justice Department says just as much. Quote, while the order rejoins and restrains the Department of Interior from implementing the pause, it does not compel Interior to take the action specified by plaintiffs, let alone on the urgent timeline specified in plaintiffs' contempt motion.
This kind of speaks back to what we were talking about. Like, where's the effort? Where's the effort? And like, why is it so brushed? It's such brushed aside so quickly. Like, there was nothing preventing them doing what they there's nothing preventing them doing more, or at least attempting to find other viable options. They just kind of like use that as a faceplate, as a face covering, and say, look, we maybe did a thing, and then when you look at it, they actually didn't. Incredibly frustrating, and kind of speaking back to what we were talking about earlier.
Greece unveiled a draft of a new climate law last month, which I totally missed. So here it is. In it, the country, which is the most coal-reliant country in the EU, commits to phasing down coal production within the next 6 years. This is even faster than the timeline that the pledge made by over 40 countries during COP26 had. Granted, Greece's government had previously promised to phase out coal by 2025, so this is them stepping their timeline back, but it's still good if they keep this one. Greece also promised in this proposed legislation to ban gas and diesel-powered cars by 2030, which is 5 years earlier than the EU proposed ban. And Greece also proposed to ban all buildings from using oil heating and will require solar panels on some industrial buildings by 2025. Another news point I missed is there's been an update to the hockey stick graph. You know, the famous graph that shows the dramatic increase in global temperatures after the Industrial Revolution. Well, new data analysis technology has increased the accuracy of the graph. And you can learn more about that in a recent video by Simon Clark, which I will of course link below and above. Basically, the increase in global temperatures is more extreme than we previously thought, so
Yay.
love that for us. A new report by the Center for Progress Reform calculated that the chemical industry, think plastic, fertilizers, and synthetic rubber, produce around 7% of global carbon emissions. All the products I mentioned are made from fossil fuels, but this fact has not been prioritized by governing bodies so far. And the percent is expected to rise, with emissions from this sector increasing by 43% in the US alone in the last 20 years. So it's just going to keep going up. I did a video on the connection between plastic and fossil fuels, which you can find up above. The UN's Food and Agriculture Organization, or FAO, released a report covering how harmful plastic use in agriculture is to the environment. Because plastic contaminated by organic matter cannot be recycled, most plastic you see covering crops gets burned, buried, or lost after use. This
Yikes.
contributes to an influx in microplastics in our soil and waters, and burning plastic introduces toxic chemicals into the atmosphere. Global agriculture accounts for about 12.5 million tons of plastic in 2019, with an
Wow.
additional 37.5 million tons from plastic packaging. Unless we rethink plastic in our food system, the impact of agricultural plastic is expected to rise significantly in the next 10 years. MSCI, an investment research and data firm, released a list of trends and topics to watch in the environmental, social, and governance spaces, or ESG. Here's the executive summary titles of the top 10 trends to look for. I put on the screen their descriptions of each topic, so you can pause to read each one of them. 1. The new Amazon effect. Corporates pushing corporates for net zero supply chains. 2. Private company emissions under public scrutiny. 3. The coal conundrum. Rethinking divestment. 4. No plan B. Financing climate adaptation. 5. Greenwashing resides as common ESG language emerges. 6. Regulation at the crossroads. Convergence or fragmentation. 7. Putting ESG ratings in their rightful place. 8. Coffee versus burgers. Biodiversity and the future of food.
True.
9. Bacteria rising. Another health crisis looms. And 10. Just transition. Finding the nexus of need and investability. You can check out their full report in the source link below.
I mean, yeah, but like all of this is based on if we want to do things, right? If any of this actually gets taken seriously.
Biden announced a new executive order December 8th called Catalyzing Clean Energy Industries and Jobs Through Federal Sustainability, where he laid out federal climate goals and clean technology procurement targets. Some of these goals include 100% carbon-free power in federal operations by 2030, 100% of government light-duty vehicle fleet purchases to be zero emissions by 2027, 2035 for mid and heavy-duty vehicles, and a 50% reduction in building emissions by 2032. While the government is a small fraction of the overall economy, the U.S. government is still the biggest spender and can help push clean energy technology in.
Well, that is true. That is absolutely true. Again, under the government's purview, I would imagine, is the military. Why is that not included? Is it included? I don't think so. Please post a link to her stream. I don't know if she streams, but I can definitely post
into
a link
the
to her
market,
channel.
driving down prices. Quote, it's a similar strategy to what China is doing successfully, leveraging the purchasing power of the government to create demand that markets can meet. The Aspen Institute, with support from Climate Works Foundation, released a report detailing a strategy for fairly exploring the ocean as a possible carbon removal site. The ocean already removes about 40% of human-made CO2 emissions since the industrial age, but this has resulted in the ocean becoming more acidic,
True.
harming marine organisms. Several possibilities to capture more carbon in the ocean safely without dropping its pH further and actually helping improve that problem includes planting mangroves and kelp forests. Similarly, the National Academies of Science also came out with ideas on how to use the ocean to remove and store more carbon. And then they proceeded to put it behind a paywall, so I have not read it. But they did do a panel discussion, which I will link below. Virginia's new governor has vowed to exit the Regional Greenhouse Gas Initiative, a regional carbon emissions trading program, calling it a carbon tax. Okay, because you know, taxes equal bad automatically. Virginia became the first state in the South to join that initiative in 2020. According to a ProPublica analysis, the owner of the Deepwater Horizon rig and responsible company, Taylor Energy, has made $444 million from 2005 to 2018 and paid zero federal income taxes during that time. That's right. Phyllis Taylor allegedly used the money that was supposed to go to cleaning up the spill to give herself a legal 9-figure tax write-off. But the system is fine. Over in Italy, the energy storage startup Energy Dome is starting a commercial demo project on the island of Sardinia for the utility company A2A. Energy Dome is arguably the fastest growing utility-scale, long-duration energy storage company right now. What makes the company unique is that Energy Dome uses pre-existing technology, meaning that they don't need to build a factory, and instead they can just purchase their equipment from existing suppliers. You can learn more about their technology by clicking the link in the source link. Lol. Why did I read it like that? Source link. Lol. Back to the US, and on December 10th, Nebraska became the first Republican-dominated state to commit to reaching net zero emissions by 2050. Yeah, the markets did it for them. The state's largest utility board, Nebraska Public Power District, voted to aim for net zero emissions. The other two utility companies in the state made similar moves already last year. The utility company still needs to formalize concrete plans to meet the goal, but this is still a very big win for climate action in the US. General Motors signed 2 mineral deals for their electric car fleet, one with MP Minerals, the only rare earth mine in California, and the other with a German company, VAC, to build a magnet factory in the US. This is showing a further push for companies to keep EV industry domestic. Some follow-up good news, the Sinclair Point Energy, who was ditched last month by Shell on the Cambo oil field development project off of Shetland, UK, has officially paused the project. The US Energy Information Administration, EIA, not IEA, EIA, announced it expects the US to become the world's largest exporter of liquefied methane gas by the end of next year, beating out Australia and Qatar. Asia is the largest importer of US gas, but it is also big in Europe and Latin America. So good for us? A new study published in the journal Science found that tropical forests can recover quickly from deforestation on their own if given a chance, potentially in less than a decade, which is amazing. Boy, the Earth is really just doing everything it can for us. This is due to oil fertility in deforested areas. Quote, it does provide a glimmer of hope for this process of tropical reforestation. My only caution is I don't think it's ever a substitute for the importance of saving big trees and old growth forests.
True.
Almost 100 people were killed by tornadoes in Kentucky and 5 nearby states, a rare occurrence for the winter. While it's hard to connect climate change to specific events, the jet stream being out of whack, which I mentioned earlier in the video, might have laid out favorable conditions for this many storms to emerge.
That's right.
As a larger picture, tornado occurrences is increasing in the mid-south and southeast states compared to the plains states, and tornadoes are becoming more variable from year to year. A study before the event predicted tornadoes to get stronger and stay on the ground longer in a warmer world. And the Federal Emergency Management Agency, FEMA, chief came out afterwards saying this. Quote, this is going to be our new normal, and the effects that we're seeing from climate change are the crisis of our generation.
True.
We'll continue to work on helping to reduce the impacts, but we're also prepared to respond to any community that gets impacted by one of these severe events. And corresponding to that, in the same area, on Wednesday, December 15th, 2 records were beaten. One for the number of hurricane gust wind reports from thunderstorms in a single day in the lower 48 states since the data began in 2004.
Jesus.
And the other record was the number of tornado warnings ever issued in South Dakota, Iowa, Nebraska, and Minnesota during the month of December.
That's right,
And
that's
now,
true.
very strong winds have spread wildfires across Texas, Oklahoma, and Kansas. In December, the Biden administration, per its COP26 promise, announced that it would officially stop aid for offshore fossil fuel financing projects. The solar industry is now expected to grow 25% less in 2022 than previously predicted due to supply chain issues. But it's still a fast rising industry, increasing by 33% from 2020 to 2021, as the costs have declined 12% between 2019 and 2021.
That's
a new
true.
report by the First Street Foundation and Arab found that U.S. businesses could lose more than 3.1 million days of operation next year due to increased flood risks. This might go up to 4 million days by 2051. It's the first report that looks at the vulnerability of commercial real estate, where previous reports have looked at residential and critical infrastructure.
Yeah, like the way to drive the importance of climate change is to put it in these terms, right? It's to put it in these terms because, like, otherwise, I don't think that people are understanding. At least this is a way to illustrate the severity and get the point across. I mean, like, anything that helps to illustrate the problem is good.
California, Florida, New York, and Pennsylvania look like they will be hit hard next year.
Yeah.
And Texas, Louisiana, Florida, Delaware, and South Carolina look like they will be hit the hardest between 2022 and 2051.
Florida is a constant
Scotland demolished its last coal-fired plant with a ceremonial demolition of its chimney, led by the country's minister, Nicola Sturgeon. Quote, "The demolition of the Longuemont chimney today marks a definitive end of coal power in Scotland." Scotland's goal is to have half of its energy demand come from renewables by 2030, on the way to become fully carbon neutral by 2045. Currently, 97% of the country's electrical demand comes from clean energy, but that doesn't account for heating or transportation, so those are the areas to improve on. Russia and India vetoed a resolution by the UN Security Council that would have treated climate change as a threat to peace for the first time. China abstained from voting altogether. The resolution was co-sponsored by Niger and Ireland and would have required the UN to look at climate change as a possible cause of conflicts and look for ways to address associated risks. One of the Antarctica's biggest glaciers, Thwaites, might completely collapse in the next 3 to 5 years. Researchers warned this at an annual American Geophysical Union meeting. Roughly the size of Florida, the glacier has potential to raise sea level rise by over 2 feet and could trigger a large collapse of Antarctica. A new report by the Environmental Defense Fund found that the high rates of methane spewing out of the Permian Basin isn't slowing down at all. 40% of the 900 sites there are releasing plumes of methane, 14% of which can be attributed to malfunctioning flares. So what do the other ones say? In many cases, methane leaked for days before being addressed. Speaking of gas, New York City will become the largest state to ban gas appliances in new buildings. The ban will go into effect December 2023 for buildings under 7 stories. Developers argued a delay for the larger buildings until 2027. Former executives of companies like Sierra Club, Beyond Coal, and Energy Innovation have started the Climate Imperative Foundation to provide grants meant to steer big near-term policy decisions in countries with large footprints.
Nice.
The foundation went public a few days ago with a planned budget of $180 million annually over 5 years to provide funding, technical support, and expertise to organizations working on policy. 6 European supermarket chains announced that they would stop selling some or all beef products from Brazil due to links to Amazon deforestation. The chocolate company TCHO, I don't know if there's a proper pronunciation of that, but TCHO announced it was moving away from using milk in its products to reduce its carbon footprint. Their goal is to make their portfolio 100% dairy-free by 2023. And finally, Amplify Energy, which is responsible for the large oil spill off the coast of South California in early October, was charged with negligence, a misdemeanor, and sentenced to 5 years of probation.
Oh no.
Woo. And that was the climate news from December 4th to 17th. Which news points did you find the most interesting? Let me know in the comments.
Some hopium, but yeah. Well, nice to catch up what was going on, for sure. That's right, a 200-mile touchdown. I do remember we covered some of that as well. Alright, folks, we do have a cute animal video redemption.
is hard work. All moms know, taking care of a newborn is hard work. Just ask an otter. Otter pups are born not knowing how to swim. So their moms have to carry them around everywhere they go for 6 months.
Aw.
And like all babies, otter pups can be a handful. Baby otters eat a lot. They can eat up to a
Hey, SV
quarter of
Harkin,
their
they're like
body
floating
weight a
potatoes.
day.
They're cute though.
So
They're
when
cute.
otter moms have to go off hunting for food or, just need a little time to binge Netflix,
To
they
binge
swaddle
Netflix.
their pups in a seaweed blanket.
Aw.
The seaweed helps keep the baby safe and secure until mom comes back with dinner. Even as the babies grow up and learn to swim on their own, otter families still stick together. Literally.
Aw, I saw them once on the California
Otter moms
coast.
will hold
Amazing.
hands
That's
with their
adorable.
pup while they nap together to keep them from floating from their group, which is called a raft.
It's adorable.
And another way otters are just like us, nap time is very, very important.
True.
Otters spend about 11 hours out of the day sleeping or resting.
I should spend 11 hours a
Just
day sleeping.
5 more minutes. Otters are also one of the only other mammals besides humans that use tools. Otters love seafood, and they use rocks to open mollusks and clams. Some otters will keep a favorite rock for their entire life.
That's awesome.
Storing it in a pocket of skin under their arms. And not for nothing, otters are amazing jugglers.
Wow.
Unlike
I like
most
starfish in the
marine
ocean just
animals,
floating.
otters
That's
don't
awesome.
have a layer of blubber, but they do have the thickest fur of any other mammal. It makes them naturally waterproof and buoyant. Otters can also close both of their nostrils and ears when they go underwater. And their webbed back feet made them speedy swimmers. So otters are amazing in their own special ways, but we have a lot in common too. And one thing's for sure, whether you're an otter or a human, moms just get the job done.
That's adorable.
Thanks, Mom.
That is way too cute.
Like, comment, and subscribe.
That is way too cute. Way too cute. Alright folks, unfortunately it is 11:25. I do gotta get going, get my day started. Folks, don't forget, if you enjoy the content, make sure you hit that follow button, get 5 free emotes, and it really does help us out. Please spread the word far and wide that this is the chillest place to be for news and politics, and join the Discord to get any updates on the channel. I like to start fishing. Nice. Join the Discord and head on over to our YouTube channel. Takes 5 seconds, and click that subscribe button. It really does help us out. And of course, again, spread the word far and wide. That's the best way to support the channel. That doesn't cost a single penny or a single biddy. I appreciate all the support. Thank you, Alio, for the tier 1 subscription for 14 months. That's amazing. Bob Dragon for the 2 months. Tier 1 for 2 months now. Thank you. Madame Defarge with the tier 1 for 12 months again. Thank you so much. You guys are what makes this channel go. I appreciate all of you guys here. I appreciate all the new follows. I appreciate you guys hanging out here. Thank you for being there. You have a good one. Get well. Thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you, Heat. Thank you, Weem Buff Dragon, Chai Bureaucrat, Alio, for hanging out here. SV Harkin. As always, thank you guys. I appreciate all of you guys here. And don't forget to follow Heat420_. Don't forget to follow Alio Share. And don't also forget to show Bleep Blop Ben some support. She does great content. You might learn a thing or two. Head on over to TYT on, I want to say Friday, 4 p.m. for Galaxy Brain. Great segment. Bring a notepad. As always, please stay safe. You have a great day, SV Harkin. Please stay safe. Please take care of each other. Love y'all, and I hope to see you guys in the next one. See ya! Don't worry, folks. I'll bring more energy tomorrow. Just not feeling 100%, but that's okay. Alright, folks. Let's head on over to Tina. Hang tight. Hang tight. We're heading out in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Here we go. See ya.